港冰皮。
Blue whales can live to be over 100 years old.
The animals that David Attenborough finds particularly fascinating.
It's likely that this incredible creature could revolutionize modern medicine.
Wednesday, David Attenborough's Natural Curiosities, Season 3, at 8:30 on Pearl.
Amber travel alert for Singapore over Zika. Agency punished for charging extra commission from foreign domestic helpers. And gearing up for the G20 summit in Hangzhou.
Good evening. Hong Kong has issued the amber travel alert for Singapore because of a growing number of Zika cases there. Pregnant women in particular have been advised to avoid going there. Winner Wong has our top story tonight.
As the number of Zika cases in Singapore continues to climb, the Security Bureau decided to issue an amber travel alert for the Lion City today. In particular, it warned pregnant women, or those who are planning for pregnancy, to avoid traveling to places with ongoing Zika outbreaks, including Singapore. Those already in the city-state should take anti-mosquito measures. People who have returned should check for Zika symptoms and continue to avoid getting bitten by mosquitoes for at least 21 days and practice safe sex. According to the World Health Organization, more than 70 countries or territories have reported mosquito-borne transmission of the Zika virus since 2007. Although the infection generally poses little threat to healthy adults, it can spread from pregnant mothers to their fetuses and has been linked to babies being born with microcephaly, a birth defect where a baby's head is smaller and the brain is not completely developed. The virus can also be spread between partners through sexual intercourse. Meanwhile, the Travel Industry Council says the number of people signing up for tour groups to Singapore over the past several days has dropped by up to 80%. About 2 to 3 tours will be heading to the Lion City in the coming week, and there are no plans to change their itineraries for now. For example, they still plan to visit the famous Merlion Park, which is just minutes away from the Sims Drive Aljunied Crescent cluster, where dozens of Singapore's confirmed Zika patients work or live. According to government figures, there were 600,000 visits by the people of Hong Kong to Singapore last year, while the number of visits by Singaporeans to the SAR hit 680,000. Winna Wong, TVB News.
In Singapore, the number of Zika cases has risen to at least 151, including 2 pregnant women. More than 30 new cases were confirmed yesterday. The number of cases in the Lion City has been rising steadily since the first infection was reported last weekend. Meanwhile, China has intensified its checks on goods and people arriving from the city-state. Zika was confirmed to have spread to Malaysia from Singapore.
To other news now, migrant workers groups have criticized what they see as the lenient sentence given to an employment agency found guilty of charging commission 8 times the prescribed legal limit from 3 helpers. An Eastern Court magistrate today fined the agency $30,000 and ordered it to repay the helpers. Anne Marie Sim has more.
The Labour Department had issued Ursula Advanced Employment Centre with a summons for receiving payment other than the prescribed commission. The agency's licence holder had earlier pleaded guilty to the charge. The court heard that the agency charged fees equivalent to 4 to 6 months' salary over the past year. It then took the 3 helpers to open bank accounts and took out personal loans of more than $20,000 each, but the helpers did not get any money from the loans. The agency also kept their ATM cards and travel documents. It withdrew $3,378 from each helper's bank account using their cards and PIN numbers. The helpers were each left with only $700 to $800 per month. In handing down his sentence, Special Magistrate Arthur Lamb noted that under the law, agencies are only allowed to charge 10% out of the helper's first monthly salary as commission. He said the agency had charged the 3 women 8 times the prescribed legal limit, which was a serious offence. The magistrate also highlighted that some helpers arrive in Hong Kong without any knowledge of the city, adding that it was unfortunate they were targeted. He said the incident could deter other helpers from coming to work in Hong Kong. He fined the agency $30,000 and ordered it to refund each helper's wages to the tune of around $3,300, which amounts to a total of $10,136. The union backing the helpers welcomed the verdict, but warned the fine might not have a deterrent effect.
So sometimes they just coming from Indonesia without know nothing, and then they just want to working, and then when the employer force them to sign anything, they just say yes without knowing what is inside. They are working hard, and who is getting money is the agencies, and they didn't know nothing about regulation in Hong Kong, so they just keep it silent so long.
The magistrate had also warned the agency not to re-offend or face a harsher sentence. Receiving payment other than the prescribed commission is punishable by a maximum fine of $50,000. Anne-Marie Sim, TVB News.
World leaders have begun arriving in Hangzhou for the G20 summit of leading industrialized nations. As host, China is determined to keep the focus on the global economy and the environment, rather than let talks veer into thorny issues such as human rights and disputes over territory and trade.
Leaders and officials from around the world have been arriving in Hangzhou before this weekend's G20 summit of industrialized nations. Also happening around the same time is the B20 summit, a gathering of business associations from the G20 nations. For host China, it's a chance to showcase its strength as the world's second largest economy, as well as its growing role in international affairs. It will seek to promote its image as a force for grappling with climate change and as a promoter of development in Asia through its Belt and Road Initiative and the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. But the summit also comes amid serious tensions over Beijing's disputes with its neighbours over disputed territory in the East and South China Seas. The South China Sea has become a particularly sensitive issue since an international arbitration panel in June ruled against China's claims to almost the entire water body. So it's no surprise Beijing is keen to keep the focus on the global economy and avoid any messy arguments on the sidelines about territorial and trade disputes, as well as human rights concerns. Ahead of the summit, Vice Finance Minister Zhu Guangyao said the world is looking to Hangzhou G20 to make a historical contribution towards strengthening the global economic recovery. We are currently facing a global economic situation that has many uncertainties, and downward pressure on the economy is increasing. Under these circumstances, it is extremely important that the international community, especially G20 members, reach a consensus on formulating policies, face the issues directly, and work together to foster economic growth, said Zhu. The world economy has been sluggish at best these past few years, with trade flagging and the International Monetary Fund downgrading its 2016 global growth forecast again. Uncertainty remains on many fronts, including the fallout from Britain's vote to leave the European Union, concerns of a collapse in Chinese growth, an anemic Eurozone economy, and stagnation in former G20 star performers like Brazil and South Africa.
Well, the financial secretary is among those attending the B20 and G20 summits. Before leaving Hong Kong for Hangzhou this morning, Zhong Zhang said the G20 meeting represents a good opportunity for countries to exchange their views. He's attending these summits as part of China's delegation. Zhang also said there are currently no plans for him to meet with central government leaders in Hangzhou. He did say if Chinese leaders or officials want to know about the situation in Hong Kong, he will be glad to offer his views.
A splinter group from the Pakistani Taliban has claimed responsibility for 2 bomb attacks that killed at least 12 people in the northwest of Pakistan. Dozens more were wounded in the attack on a local court. Today's attack came hours after militants killed 2 people in a Christian neighborhood in the same region. The atrocities were claimed by Jamaat-ul-Ahrar, a breakaway Pakistan Taliban faction believed to be behind some of the past year's deadliest attacks. Among them, last month's attacks on a group of lawyers in the city of Quetta, which left 74 people dead.
Venezuela's opposition is vowing to keep up the pressure on President Nicolas Maduro to resign. Protesters flooded the streets of the capital Caracas yesterday in their biggest show of force in years. James Aiken reports.
As they chanted unity, Venezuelans from across the country and beyond streamed into the capital for an event dubbed the Taking of Caracas. Opposition leaders said there were in fact two protests, one in the capital and the other a national traffic jam caused by authorities not allowing other demonstrators into the city. Indeed, many anti-government protesters from different parts of the country never made it to the capital. They said their buses were attacked by pro-government sympathizers. When they continued on foot, they appeared to be blocked by riot police. Elsewhere, Venezuelans living abroad held protests in the form of vigils in countries like Argentina and Peru. This protester said her country is dying and needs all possible help. We want what is in the Constitution, to have a referendum to change the president this year, says Pierre El Graziani, a Venezuelan living in Peru. The opposition hopes to force electoral authorities, widely seen as pro-government, to allow a recall referendum against Maduro this year. If Maduro loses, new elections would be held and polls indicate the opposition would win. But if a vote is delayed until after January 10th and Maduro loses, his vice president would finish his term ending in 2019. Electoral authorities have yet to set a date for the next stage of the process, in which the opposition must collect 4 million validated signatures over 3 days. Meanwhile, as his popularity plunges, Maduro continues to brush off public anger. Without providing details, Maduro told a crowd of government workers and hardcore loyalists that he's defeated an attempted coup. He also mocked the opposition rally, claiming their turnout was low. Opposition campaigners have staged a half-dozen marches this year and have already outlined plans for more street protests later this month. James Aiken, TVB News.
Samsung has suspended sales of its Galaxy Note 7 smartphone. The tech giant has discovered that a battery made by one of its two battery suppliers causes the phone to catch fire. The company says it will replace all Galaxy Note 7 smartphones equipped with the faulty batteries and halt sales of the flagship product in 10 markets. Samsung says customers will be able to swap Note 7s for new smartphones. The recall does not affect China, where models feature a different battery. The announcement comes just over 2 weeks since the launch of their premium device. Samsung has sold 2.5 million of the premium devices so far. The scale of the recall is unprecedented for Samsung. Analysts say it's a devastating blow for what had been a revival in the firm's mobile business.
And still ahead in the news tonight. Court victory for anti-parallel goods trading protester in police assault case. Jackie Chan to get an honorary Oscar award. And what a shot by Juan Martín del Potro at Flushing Meadows.
They're far more than just hunters. Language, courtship, hygiene, and social interaction all play a part in the secret lives of sharks. Tuesday, Shark, at 9:35 on Shark Spectacular. Cheeky and playful as they may seem, the hope for their future remains dim.
Climate change is because of humans. Overfishing is because of humans. They look so much like they've given up on life. It's really, really sad.
Wednesday, Orient Watch Company 55th Anniversary presents Adventures to the Edge 2 at 9 on Pearl.
What do you need to make it big in the new economy? Well, less than you think. You don't need a big office. You can work anywhere, in any condition. Why write about your success when you can share a homemade gift? You don't need a safe when there's a much smarter way to protect your ideas. Plus, you can enjoy a 5.7-inch cinema experience when you're not busy changing the world. New Galaxy Note 7, the smartphone that thinks big.
What does Erica Kravitz want with Tommy?
This is how you can save mankind, Tommy. The choice is yours.
I'm never going to trust you.
Master of time and space, it is my mission to free you.
Now comes the hard part.
Oh my God. Grandfather, where is he?
Monday, Heroes Reborn at 10:40 on Pearl.
And welcome back. An anti-parallel goods trading protester has scored a legal victory. He was first convicted and then acquitted of assaulting a police officer, and today the High Court denied an application for a retrial. 54-year-old Yun Kam-ching was earlier sentenced to 4 months in prison after being found guilty of assaulting a police officer during an anti-parallel goods trading protest. The court heard that Yun kicked a police officer twice in the leg during the protest in Yunlong in March last year. Yun filed an appeal against the verdict. The High Court overturned the ruling and the sentence. The prosecution then asked for a retrial. However, it was rejected by the High Court today. In his judgment, Justice Patrick Lee said assaulting an officer is a serious crime. However, the level of responsibility varies based on the circumstances and motive. Lee agreed with Yun's legal counsel that the police officer might not even have felt being kicked because Yun was not arrested immediately afterwards. Also, Lee said even if Yun did really kick the officer, it was because emotions were running high during the protests, not because the defendant was trying to avoid being arrested or prevent a police investigation. Justice Lee also pointed out that Yun had already been remanded in custody for 14 days. So even if he did commit the crime, that's already sufficient punishment. Lee also said a retrial is not in the public interest, so he rejected the application by the prosecution.
Well, Hong Kong's own Jackie Chan will be given an honorary Oscar award for his contribution to films. He's the first Chinese actor to receive the honor. Rachel Leung has the story.
Anyone who has been to the movies will be familiar with the sights of Jackie Chan jumping off buildings or moving vehicles, all in the name of entertainment. And now, the 62-year-old Hong Kong-born action star is being recognized for his movie career by none other than the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences with an honorary Academy Award. Chan and 3 others are the recipients of the 2016 Governor's Awards. Chan thanked the Academy on Weibo for the recognition and encouragement. He made his big screen debut at the age of 8 and made his way to the bright lights of Hollywood in the 1990s. Besides his acting career, Chan has also written, directed and produced several films. Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development Greg So today congratulated Chan, adding that his acting and stunt work has entertained audiences around the world for decades. So said the honorary Oscar is a great encouragement for the Hong Kong film industry. He noted that the government will continue to implement measures to boost the local film industry. But Chan has also courted controversy. He once said Chinese people need to be controlled in a debate over censorship, angering some in Hong Kong, Taiwan and the mainland. Rachel Leung, TVB News.
More overseas news now. A strong magnitude 7.1 earthquake rattled the coast of New Zealand's North Island this morning. The quake triggered a small tsunami and shook items from shelves, but there was no major damage or injuries. It struck 160 kilometers northeast of the city of Gisborne at a depth of about 20 kilometers. It was widely felt throughout the North Island and was followed by a series of aftershocks. Residents headed for higher ground after authorities issued a tsunami warning.
Tens of thousands of homes are in the dark in Florida as Hurricane Hermine slammed into its northern Gulf coast. It's the first hurricane to hit the southeastern U.S. state in more than a decade. The Category 1 hurricane made landfall a few hours ago, packing winds of 130 kilometers per hour. The storm has downed power lines and trees and caused widespread flooding. Residents are being warned to stay indoors and much of Florida is under a state of emergency. Forecasters expect conditions to get worse, with some areas seeing 3 meters of flooding.
Staying in the U.S., Washington-based Georgetown University has apologized for its historical links to slavery. As part of its efforts to atone for profiting from the sale of slaves, the prominent Jesuit institution will give preference in admissions to the descendants of slaves sold. Alan Buckner reports.
A school committee was created last year to study Georgetown's ties to slavery. It found that in 1838, Maryland Jesuits who ran the university sold 272 enslaved men, women, and children who were working on affiliated farms to help pay the school's debts.
This original evil that shaped the early years of the Republic was present here. And we have been able to hide from this truth, bury this truth, ignore and deny this truth. So many were surprised, even shocked, by the revelation of Jesuit slaveholding and the benefit we received from the 1838 sale.
The 18,000-student university will now give the same advantage to the slaves' descendants that's given to people whose parents and grandparents attended Georgetown. It will also create a memorial for slaves whose work benefited the school and rename 2 of its halls, one after the first slave who was sold and another after a black educator. They had been named after presidents who oversaw the 1838 sale. Some descendants felt the steps were inadequate.
I believe that Georgetown is sincere in wanting to make amends. I believe that Georgetown may not know how. And I mean, you think about it. Whether it's Jesuit priests or the president of a university, they're not used to interacting with people as equals. And so this is new territory for them. And so we're here and we'll help them work through learning how to treat us as part of the family.
Another descendant said she was disappointed with the committee's report.
It seems to me that the best title for it would be Georgetown Reconciles with Itself, because it really is all about Georgetown and has very little to do with us descendants.
Still, the steps go further than those taken by other American universities confronting their past association with slavery. They include Harvard, Brown, North Carolina, and Princeton. Alan Buckner, TVB News.
So, Tony, what's happening in sports?
Okay, we've got a bit of tennis action to show, and we're going to start off first with Formula One news. And Felipe Massa has announced that he will retire at the end of the season. The 35-year-old Brazilian won 11 races with Ferrari in his 15-year career. In 2008, he lost the Drivers' Championship to Lewis Hamilton by 1 point. The following year, Massa suffered a fractured skull after being hit on the head by a part from another car. Currently driving for Williams, he's 10th in the standings and without a podium finish. On to tennis now, and second-round wins for Andy Murray, Kei Nishikori and Stan Wawrinka at the US Open. And now to the shot of the day for Argentina's Juan Martín del Potro. The Olympic silver medalist defeated American Steve Johnson in straight sets. The scores were 7-6, 6-3 and 6-2. Meanwhile, on the women's side, in an all-American clash, Serena Williams beat Vanya King in straight sets, and after upsetting Olympic champion Monica Puig in the opening round, China's Zheng Saisai lost a 3-setter to Ukraine's Katarina Bodarenko. Football, and get ready for a slew of World Cup qualifying matches in Europe. Spain and Belgium warmed up with a friendly in Brussels. Here's Jameson Wong.
Not the start new Belgium boss Roberto Martinez wanted. Visitors Spain on the scoreboard. Diego Costa to David Silva, 1-0 to Spain in Brussels. Start of the second half, and Gerard Piqué almost made it 2-0. Goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois with the fine save. At the hour, La Roja scored a second. Silva converted from the spot. 2-0 the final. After a dismal performance, Martinez and assistant manager Thierry Henry need to sort things out soon as Belgium begin its World Cup qualifying campaign against Cyprus next week. Jameson Wan, TVB News.
And that's the news.
Thanks for watching. Good night.
Set sail on an extraordinary voyage with Nigel Marvin.
Way!
And seek out the most astonishing wildlife in the various ports of call.
You're nearly there, Mum. Seahorse!
Tonight, Nigel Marvin's cruise ship adventures at 8:30 on Pearl.
Suicide mission.
Scientists who want to bomb.
The volcano acids just wipe the whole thing out.
To see if people on this island are safe.
No one would survive on this island.
Wednesday, Journey to Fire Mountain at 9:35 on Pearl.
Hong Kong is our home. We want our city to achieve better progress. The Legislative Council election will be held on September 4th. Only 2 days to go. Vote for your choice. For inquiries, please call 2891 1001.
让我们一起寻找使徒保罗的宣教教宗，通过现代文明与古迹，了解智慧背后的奥秘。
Understand Christianity from Chinese believers around the world.
这个囚室是当年保罗被囚禁的地方。
Saturday morning, showers of blessing at 7 on Pearl.
Hello everyone, it was mainly cloudy today with showers and a few squally thunderstorms. At 5 p.m., a trough of low pressure was bringing thundery showers to the South China coastal areas. Up until 5 p.m., today's temperatures range from 27.5 to 31 degrees, with the relative humidity ranging between 75 and 92%. 5.8 millimeters of rain has been recorded since midnight. The current temperature is 28 degrees Celsius, with the relative humidity standing at 83%. So Freddie, how's the weather tomorrow? Mainly cloudy with showers and a few thunderstorms. Showers will ease off with sunny intervals later tomorrow. Temperatures will range between 27 and 31 degrees. The weather will remain unsettled early next week. Tomorrow's air quality health index will range from low to moderate. And the maximum UV index forecast for tomorrow will be about 7. Now, here's the latest global weather update. Cloudy in Shanghai, rain in Taipei, showers in Xiamen. Rain in Guangzhou and Chengdu, thunderstorms in Macau. Cloudy in Beijing and Seoul, rain in Tokyo. Thunderstorms in Bangkok, rain in Ho Chi Minh City and Manila. Thunderstorms in Kuala Lumpur and Singapore, rain in Jakarta. Sunny intervals in New Delhi, sunny in Karachi, rain in Mumbai. Sunny in Cairo, rain in Nairobi. Rain in Brisbane and Sydney, showers in Melbourne and Auckland. Sunny in Toronto, showers in New York. Showers in Vancouver, foggy in San Francisco and Los Angeles. Rain in London and Amsterdam, cloudy in Paris and Frankfurt, sunny in Zurich. And that's the weather. Have a great evening.
Check out some of nature's most elegantly and ingeniously designed homes. Get an intimate look inside. And marvel at amazing feats of social engineering. Tuesday, Animal Homes at 8:30 on Pearl. The Force.
It's pretty impressive. Yeah, I taught him.
The Empire.
Angle deflector shields and follow my lead.
And the Dark Side.
It's obviously a trap.
We have to do this.
Sunday, Lego Star Wars presents Star Wars Rebels Season 2 at 8 on Pearl.